So what did you do when you did the speech tags? Do you remember speech tags, like when you have a quotation by someone and then you say she said, instead of she said you can say
She shouted.
She shouted, she yelled, she interposed, she interrupted. Is that what you discussed?
Yes.
Okay. But not those examples?
No.
Okay. So now leave this pamphlet, leave it aside. If we have time, we're going to read it. This is a very fun conversation, it's very funny. But let's finish the description first. Okay. Now, before we start with the second example by Updike, I'm going to write something on the board, and I would like you to describe it. Right, you've taken long sentences, right? Cumulative sentences. Like when you build on a sentence, you've got only one phrase and you start building, you make it longer, longer, longer. Anyway, I want you to start with the book was and describe a book. Describe a book. A book here, a book in your house, got it. And then I'll hear from you. Describe a book. Again, when you describe, I want to see, smell, taste. You're not necessarily going to taste the book. Sight, or see, touch, and hear. So you're going to engage your senses, not necessarily all of them. Not necessarily all of them. You could focus on one sense. Okay. If you've finished, you can move on to the boy and describe a boy. Description. If you don't want to describe a boy, describe a house. Choose minimum 2 of those 3 and describe them. 4 lines, 5 lines, a good description. Yes, what's your name? Mu'ad, yes, Mu'ad.
The book was very big for me to read it. It is over 2,200 pages. Well, it was so amazing. I really enjoy reading it because I really enjoy reading it. In every page, I touch this soft page and enjoy to hear about our old history.
Okay, good job. So, what did he engage? Sight, that the book was terribly huge. It was big, and he touched the pages, and we get to know as readers, we get to know that the pages were soft. Okay, good. Brahim.
Through the window, I had a look in that deserted room. On the table lied a book. The book was flipping and its pages clapping like a happy kid.
Okay, that is nice, very good. So now we get to see the book as something that is moving, something that's got a soul, a life. The pages are clapping, it's being flipped. Okay, very nice. So he did not use adjectives, he used verbs, clapping and flipping. He did not use adjectives, he did not say it was huge or... So can you see the structure, even the grammar is different. With Mu'ad, it was what? Basically adjectives. With Brahim, it was more of what? Verbs. Good. Someone else? Book? Yes, what's your name?
Hamid.
Hamid.
The book was meaningless, having useless information with uncertain facts. I did not enjoy it anymore, and it has the styles or the ways the author who write it is very poor. The words very I forget. It's not simple words that.
Yes. Is it sophisticated?
Yes, sophisticated. What
Yes.
I mean, and that's it.
Yes. So, can you tell me what is not the problem, but the little trap into which Muhammad fell while describing? Can you criticize Muhammad's description? It's very good, well grammar, well structured, but there's a tiny problem. Yes.
He narrates things from his own perspective. He was subjective that he didn't talk about shape, color, or the smell.
Okay, but are we always objective in writing? No,
No,
we're not,
but-
especially in fiction. Okay, but the second point, he did not describe the shape, the smell, the touch of the book.
How I can.
He just said, well, you spoke about how it made you feel. You said that it was boring, that it was sophisticated, it used big, long words that nobody uses. It was long, and it was boring, it was useless, you said. So, all of this is related to stuff you can feel, rather than stuff you can touch and feel and, So, and we said that when we speak about description, today we're going to focus on physical description. Okay? But good. What you said is a description. It just doesn't give me a feel of what the book looked like. I can't imagine the book, for example. I don't know the size of the book you're talking about. Maybe it's this tiny, maybe it's big, maybe. I just know that it's useless and boring. Okay. Your name again? Anas. Yes, Anas.
ممكن يعني أقولها في جملة واحدة.
Yes.
The book which is knowledgeable I always used to read was a little smooth black book.
Okay. Smooth. That is good. A smooth book, a soft book. Okay. And black.
Black. and-
What do you mean by black? Oh, the page is black.
cover.
Okay, so you need to be specific. Now, this is the point of description. You need to be very vivid and very specific. So, the book cannot be black. We could say the cover was black, and the book was, and it really felt smooth under my hands, or under my fingers, let's say. Again, details. The secret is details. Okay, very good. Someone else? Okay, let's move on to the boy. What would you write about a boy? How would you describe a boy? Wow.
The boy was too short that he was not able to reach the board to write his name on it.
I love
When
this.
his teacher asked him to do it.
Very nice. Yes, I love this. Again, writing is about style. What I might like is not necessarily what you will like, okay? It's about style. I like this. So he's describing a child who's trying to reach up to the board to write his name in a classroom, but he can't because he's too short. Yes, nice. Very.
The 9-year boy was crying in the street. Afraid of rain, he hugged a tree seeking shelter.
I love this. Yes, very nice. So he hugged the tree. He was afraid. He was crying. Okay, someone else, girls. The boy. Yes.
The boy I met is a young with his whimsical smile,
Okay.
blue eye, brown hair, and silver.
Okay, that's very good. That's closer to what we're talking about today. So, whimsical smile, short hair or blonde hair, whatever. He's short. He's more physical than the others. Good. Okay. Can you describe the house? The house. I would like to hear from you, ladies. Anything you described.
Yes, describe the boy.
Okay.
The boy who is under the green apple tall tree, which is in our small flowery garden, which is beside our huge, brown, marvelous single house. Where I live in is my little, short, smart, spoiled brother.
Okay, very good. That's a very long sentence, yes. She built a sentence like a snowball. Good. Someone else? Where with the house? Yes, fine.
The house was so scary,
So what?
so scary
Yes.
that no one has the courage to get near to it. The boys are daily telling bad stories and scary stories about it that is full of ghosts. And
Okay, very good. So he's describing a ghost haunted house. You know, when you're haunted by ghosts.
Yeah.
So if we are to talk about the house, and we want to get physical
The
description,
shape of house.
you can say, yes, you can describe the shape.
Square.
You can describe, can you give me adjectives?
The color.
You can say that it was gloomy, it was small, tiny,
The color.
it was gray, it was brown, it was black, whatever. It was spacious, big. What else? What other adjectives can you use? Other adjectives to describe a house. It was dull, you know dull? Boring, there's nothing unique in the house. It's a typical house. It was dull.
Sissy house.
It was
Wooden.
dirty. It was wooden, made of wood. It was old. It was decaying, you know, decay, about to fall down. Very, very old. It was decaying. About to fall. Very, very old. A decaying house. Abandoned house. Abandoned. There was no one. People abandoned it. It was left.
Expensive or
Expensive. It was a fancy house. Now, all of those are, you know, gloomy, abandoned, decaying. We can go to the other side. It was an expensive house, a palace. The stairs were too long for me to climb, for example. It was so big you could get lost in it. The rooms were spacious. I kept getting into one room and losing myself in the other.
That's 2-story.
Two-story house. So you need to be more vivid when you describe something. The boy, you can say that he was short,
black he usually black.
black hair, for example, tiny hands. You know, description, tiny hands, if you're going to describe a small boy. If you want to describe a boy, you know that in schools in America and Britain, there's a policy of bullying. You know, if someone is a bully, they try to control the other boys, they hit them, they call them names. We call this boy is a bully, like he thinks he's stronger than everyone else. So they've got a culture of bullying. Now, if I ask you to describe the bully rather than the boy, so you're not going, of course, you're not going to say that he was short and tiny, because if he's a bully, then he must be a little bit more powerful.
Right.
At least he looks stronger than everyone else.
Right.
How would you describe him? Maybe the fat boy, the broad-shouldered boy, broad-shouldered. So his shoulders are broad, the tall guy, the guy with the muscles,
The overage.
overaged or overweight?
Overage. That
Oh, okay, yes, yes,
failed in
Yes.
years.
for example, you could say that he was very big, simply, he was very large. He had sharp green eyes. He was wearing rings. You know, they always wear rings, especially on this one, on your pinky. So, description of the boy. Maybe he was wearing something. Maybe he was wearing a t-shirt and had a tattoo, probably.
He has a scar.
Okay, he has a scar, good, because he's probably had so many fights in his life, he couldn't avoid a scar. Okay, what else? So we're describing a bully. If we're describing a normal child, or maybe a weak child, then we're probably going to say that he was short. Maybe he had a dark hair, he was very shy, he had a brown complexion, and he walked maybe he limped, you know, limp. When you don't walk straight, you limp. So again, contribute to the description. I need to imagine the boy. I need to see how he looks like. Okay? The book. Give me descriptions for the book. it's very stereotypical to describe old books, which is what we're going to do now with the other story, the other example. Can you describe a new book? In stories, we always describe, you know, a book with yellow pages, the edges are worn out, the cover is very old, it's
Has
very...
red cover, مثلا.
Okay.
Has red cover.
Yes, has a red cover, okay. What else? Can you describe a new book for me? Engage your senses. Okay, I'll write an example and we'll discuss it together. About a new one.
Right.
But if I say the girl was short, comma, her brother tall, yes, because was is like for the two clauses. Same here. The hardcover was, this is the verb, was brown and rough. The pages white and soft. There's a where here, hidden, okay? The print smelled of the bags you get when you buy new things from the supermarket. You know when you buy stuff and how the bags smells of new things. So the book was brand new. So I tried to make it more vivid. You can see the book now. This is not a perfect description, it's just an example. I should add the color, for example. I should add, if I want to describe a book that I'm currently reading, I would probably say what page I stopped at. And if the page was folded, for example, or if there was something, if there was a bookmark to mark where I stopped, etc. I would say if the pages were, if it was an old book, this is a brand new book, if it was an old book, I would say the pages were crumbled, for example, or very old, were decaying, the pages were worn out, they were falling out of the book. You know when the book is very old and they start to fall out? So as a reader, I need to imagine what the book looks like, what the boy looks like, what the house looks like. Again, engaging senses, big, small adjectives, and of course, verbs, adverbs sometimes. So if I say the boy strained his neck, you know strain, this is strain, when you stretch something of your body to reach something else. So he strained his neck. I automatically get that he's short.
Yeah.
If I say he went to the reception, he wanted to register for some course, and he strained his neck to reach the receptionist, the person who's. So I get that he's short. The verb strained is part of description. So when I talk about description, I'm not only talking about adjectives. I can say strained. I can say he limped, and I know that maybe he was in the war. Maybe he was injured in the last Israeli war in Gaza, and this is why he's limping. He's got a broken leg or something. He doesn't have a leg, for example. So sometimes it's verb. Sometimes it's adjectives, of course, short, small, tall, black, white, gloomy, big, happy, glad, whatever. Sometimes it's adjectives. If I say he snapped quickly, or he reacted quickly, or he walked very slowly. Slowly is a description. It gives you, as a reader, the image that this character is walking slowly, that he's not in a hurry. If I say he walked very quickly, or he rushed to the supermarket, rushed as a verb, what does it mean? He walked very quickly. He almost ran. Okay? Now, go to page 1, the first page of the first pamphlet. We said that we've got 2 examples, and we started with the second one because it's got a lot more description. The first one is very brief. We're going to speak about the writer Updike, also American writer, novelist, short story writer, essayist as well. You see those parts, the faded color in the middle, the descriptions. It's the first page in the first pamphlet. The faded color of the binding, the book's nasty sweetish smell, the look of his mother's. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, before we go on to this, what is this story, Updike? It's called Pigeon Feathers. You know pigeons and feathers. Any dove, any bird has feathers. So, this is a story written by Updike. Go to the description, the faded color. Now, the story is about a young boy of 14 years. He grew up in a town, and then he and his family moved to a farmhouse. So we moved from a town into a farmhouse, which is, more rural, let's say. Rural, country-like, with fields and cows and sheep, etc. So they moved to a rural house, to a more rural house. They moved to a farmhouse. And David, the boy who's 14, is not happy about moving from the old town into the new house. He's not happy about moving. The first thing we get in the story is a description of not David, not his mother, not anything else. This house is the place where his mother was raised. So his mother was raised in this farmhouse. The first description is of the place, the room he gets in, and a book. So we've got a description of a book. First thing, the faded color of the binding. What is the binding? You know, when you've got a notebook and they add this clip at this is a notebook, and they add this is the binding. For books like this, when they glue the pages into each other and they put the cover, this is the binding, all right? So, what happened? The writer described what? The binding. The faded color of the binding. So the color is fading. It's less clear. So if I say it was a fading yellow, or a fading red, or a fading black, yes, the color is there, but it's what? Fading. You know when you put water on a color, it fades away? So it was fading, it was losing its color. So I don't just say it's a color, I'm also saying that it's what? Fading. 2, the book's nasty, sweetish smell. So we've got what? Smell. 3, the look of his mother's signature on the fly leaf. So he found his mother's signature. What is the fly leaf? The blank page at the beginning or end of the book. Blank page, there's nothing written. Okay? So what did he find? The signature. What is this? What sense are we engaging? Sight. Sight. The size and shape of the print, the font.
Yeah.
The yellow edges of the pages themselves. So those are the pages. This is the edge, the edge, the edge. The pages have got what? Yellow edges. What does that indicate? What's the connotation?
It's old.
It's old. Okay. Why spend so much time on these details? The most obvious answer is that they help to make the book seem real, giving us a clear sense of how this thing would feel if we could hold it in our hands. Of course, who is feeling this book at this moment? David, the 14-year-old boy. But we get to see how the book looks to David, how the book feels to David, etc. Okay. In the second page, so now we have a name for David's crisis. Can you see it? Did you find it? So now we have, it's the beginning of the paragraph.
Yes.
So now we have a name for David's crisis. It's a spiritual crisis, a crisis of faith. He's afraid after reading this book and looking at his relatives that there's no such thing as heaven, no such thing as your immortal soul, no such thing as God. What is the point here? Sadly, the pamphlet you've got is not complete. It doesn't have the whole story. If you read the story, there's a lot of description of his grandmother. So he describes his father and his grandmother, and the description of them, as well as the description of the book, as well as the description at the end of the story of the pigeon feathers, not of the pigeon, but of their feather, help you to understand that David, the young boy, does not want to become an adult. He's afraid of the adult word. And how do we get this meaning? How do we understand the story? Through description. If I keep describing the world of adults as something negative, something decaying, an old book, feathers that are leaving the decaying body, the pigeon is dead and the feathers are falling, if I describe everything negatively, what is the message of the story? David wants to remain a child. He does not want to get older. Now, this description, this is what I meant when I said sometimes description does not only add to the story, it is the story. The story, the theme, the message, the plot is that David does not want to grow up, for example. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, now let's move to the second pamphlet. I want you to read the first page, which is the funny story. It's 2 pages and a half, I think. Okay, it's 1 page and a half, and then we'll talk about it. Read it silently, please. A typical conversation with mom. Funny already, right? 2 lines into the story and you get the point. Someone you know? Sure? Who? Your mom or someone else? Okay, sometimes it's your father, sometimes it's your aunt maybe who's always nagging. Okay, so what would you add to this story? What would you take out? What would you delete? What do you like? What do you hate? Do you like the dialogue? Is there any description? Would you add any more description?
There is no description.
Okay, not really, yes, not an awful lot of description. Do you think it's a sharp story? You know, sharp? Like you read, and at the end, it shocks you. What is the end? They went to a restaurant and she suggested seafood. So his mom is basically a hopeless case. Okay, so do you think it's a sharp ending? It's got a sharp ending?
Not exactly.
Not exactly? Okay, what would you change, Hannah?
It's a beautiful ending. It's a fun ending.
Okay.
It's expected.
Okay. Do you think it's expected?
In a way, yes. That she really insists that her son must eat seafood.
Yes. Okay. Do you think it's funny? Okay. Now we're going to move to a kind of tragic story. The other one, the old man and the sea. And the stone. The old man and the stone. I think it's written by Mr. Rifat. I'm not sure, but it's someone from Gaza who wrote it. I want you to read it silently. You're going to read it twice. Read it now just to understand what it is about. Go ahead. Summarize the story in brief. What is the story about? Shall I summarize it? Come on. Yes, Hannah.
The old man is very much attached to that stone that he thinks is from Jerusalem. This in fact reflects his unbounded love for Jerusalem and for his homeland. There is a generation gap here between the son and his father, that his son can't really understand this huge love and find this unreasonable to some extent. The stone is of no huge value according to the son, so he doesn't understand his father, and he doesn't even sympathize with him.
Okay, Hannah, right?
Yes.
Yes, well said, Hannah. Someone else? Guys there, would you like to summarize it? Okay, is it really from Jerusalem? Is the stone from Jerusalem?
Turns out that it's not.
Probably not. Why? We can't tell. Maybe the son is really mean, is really just teasing his dad. So, but probably not. How do you know what happens in the story? What does the son say to the old man? He says, my uncle just fooled you. My friend or my uncle just fooled you. It wasn't from Jerusalem. You kept nagging, I want a stone from Jerusalem, I want a stone from Jerusalem. And he couldn't bend in Jerusalem. He was too embarrassed to bend in Jerusalem and to pick a stone. So he just got you one from outside his house. Can you see the tragedy, how shocking it is? And at the end of the story, of course it's open-ended, but there's an indication that maybe the old man is dying. And this is why at the end, what does the son say? Dad, please stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. So he's probably having a heart attack because the son just shocked him. He said, you know, stop nagging. It's from Jerusalem, you know, just he picked it up from the front of our door. He just gave it to you and said it's from Jerusalem. It's not necessarily from Jerusalem. Of course, there is the possibility as readers, we can't be sure. There's the possibility that maybe the son was just teasing his dad, but there's the possibility that, you know, what he said was true. That maybe the friend or the uncle, is it the uncle?
Yes.
The uncle just got it from somewhere, anywhere from the street. It's an ordinary stone and just gave it to the father because the father, was fond of Jerusalem. He wanted a stone from Jerusalem. So it is a tragic story. Now, what are we going to do? We still have like 30 minutes or 40 minutes. I'm going to describe the old man with you, and then you are going to describe those. Now, I'm going to divide you into 3 groups. Just know your number now, okay? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All the ones are going to describe the sun. All the 2s are going to describe the stone. All the 3s are going to describe the place. Good? Okay? So you can't choose. You must describe this or this or this. Now, I'm just going to give you an example for the old man. Let's describe him together. Let's write something that is creative. Something that I can feel, can touch, can physically attach myself to. So, we want to start with the old man. Now, before we start, can you, let's draw a circle in here and give me adjectives for the old man.
Touchable.
Verbs.
Attached or touchable.
Okay, so, because he's old, someone you can
Wrinkled
love.
face.
Wrinkled face, good. What do you mean? Sorry, what's your name?
Hamad.
Hamad. Yes. Attached to the old man.
Yes, touch the stone.
Okay, do you mean attached or touched?
Touch.
Okay, yes. So we're going to talk about touch. We're going to talk about wrinkles. Very good point, Anas. What else? Wrinkles in his face. Okay, maybe the veins, the blue veins in your hand, maybe they're very clear. They sticking out in his hand because he's so old and thin. Do you want him to be thin or fat? What do you want? Again, we don't have a description. We're going to add our own description. Let's say he's thin, he's tiny, there's the hands, there's the hair, nose. Old people normally have big noses. Okay, what else? Maybe the eyes. They're going to have a deep color because he's old. He's fond of Jerusalem. Maybe there's something unique about his eyes because he's been through so much suffering, so much pain. His eyes are very deep, very bright. Yes?
Rough skin.
Okay, rough skin because he's been through so much. He's old. He's been through so much. He's labored all his life. He's worked so hard. Bald? Okay, would you like him to be bald? Bald and hair on the sides maybe? Okay, so again, this is hypothetical. There's nothing true in this. We're just describing the man. We're guessing what he looks like. So let's say the old man sat next to his son. Okay. The old man sat next to his son, his shaking hand stretched across his lap. So, this is an old man. He sat next to his son. This is his son. He sat next to his son, his hand stretched over his lap. This is your lap, laptop. So, his hand stretched over his lap. He was bald, but had grayish, gray, white, in the middle, grayish whiskers along his ears. Along his ears, he had a whisker, whiskers for guys. So whiskers along his ears. His eyes looked deep above the wrinkles. So we understand that underneath his eyes, he's got wrinkles. His eyes looked deep above the wrinkles. They're dark green. There refers to what?
To the
Eyes?
Yes. So his eyes look deep above the wrinkles. They're dark green, speaking of. Now, overlook this for a moment. In English, grammatically, can I say they speaking about creative writing? No. Is this grammatically correct? No. They are speaking, or they spoke, or they speak. You need a tense. Okay, you can't say they're speaking. Look at this. I can say in creative writing and in other academic books. The structure here is, he sat, no, it's a verb, but describing something. If I say, he sat next to his father, his hand stretched. Or, if I say, he sat next to his father, his hand reaching out to the table. Now, reaching, stretched, they describe the event. We use them not as a verb, they're not used as a verb here. You don't need is or am or are. So look here. His eyes looked deep above the wrinkles, they're darky green, the eyes darky green speaking. It means the green spoke of unimaginable yearning. This is the meaning of this sentence. The green color spoke of unimaginable yearning. We use this structure a lot in creative writing, okay? So for example, I can say, the girl walked in the room, the girl walked in, her hair, for example, her hair flowing behind her. Can I say her hair flowing behind her separately, alone? Is this a correct sentence? No. But can I say she walked in, her hair flowing behind her? Yes. Okay? So for example, can I say he started writing, his hand, for example, dripping with sweat? He sweats a lot when he writes. Can I say this? Yes. So alone, if I say, can I say his hand, for example, sweating a lot? No. I can say he started writing, his hand sweating immediately, because it's following the first sentence, okay? So, his eyes look deep above the wrinkles, the dark green, the eyes dark green, speaking of unimaginable yearning, yearning, longing. He longs, he yearns for Jerusalem. He has fond memories of Jerusalem. He's probably never been there, but he still is fond of Jerusalem. Unimaginable, something you cannot imagine. Unimaginable yearning. His rough skin, now look at this structure. again in creative writing, you've got two commas. His rough skin, hard from years of labor in the farm. This is the subject of your sentence. Where's the verb? Had got. Between them, you add description. So, his rough skin, which is hard. This is the meaning. If you add whiches, you don't need commas. So, sorry?
Reduction. Reduction.
Yes, yes. So, his rough skin, hard from years of labor in the farm, we reduce, we delete whiches, we delete the relative clause, yes. So, his rough skin, hard. Hard is a reference to the skin. His rough skin, hard from years of labor in the farm. He was a farmer, let's say. His rough skin had got brownish. So we assume he had a fair skin. You know fair. Fair skin is light, white. But we say white, when we say white in English, we don't now, in this context, we don't mean white as a race. We mean a fair skin. So not brown, not dark. Dark and fair. So we understand that it became brown because of labor, because of being exposed to the sun over the years. But he had a fair skin, and we could tell because he had what? Green eyes. So probably he had a fair skin. So his rough skin, hard from years of labor in the farm, the rough skin got brownish. It became brown over the years because he was a farmer. It was so much hard work. His skin darkened. He was so skinny, so thin or tiny. Now we introduce the son. We end with the father. We introduce the son. How? He was so skinny. His son barely. We don't need a comma. We don't need anything here. You know the structure. When you have two sentences, we use so and adjective. You don't need anything here. Now, normally, can I say subject verb with nothing in here? No. You need either a comma and a conjunction. You need, subordinating, coordinated conjunctions. Are you all English graduates?
No.
Not all of you? Okay. So anyway, usually if you have subject verb, you need a comma or a semicolon or a full stop. You need a connector and, but, however, you need something, okay? In this structure, you don't have to have a connector or a comma. Why? Because there's so. For example, I can say, she was, let's write it. She was so short, so plus adjective. She could hardly reach the table, for example. Now we've got subject, verb, and there's no need for anything between the two. Why? There is, to the extent, the expression to the extent. There is a hidden to the extent here. She was so short to the extent that she could hardly reach the table. This is the meaning, okay? She was short, she was so short, she could hardly reach it. It was so big, we could swim in it, for example. Can you notice?
Yeah.
Is it clear? Okay. So, he was so skinny, his son barely noticed him when he entered the house. So, his son couldn't notice the father because he was so skinny, as a ghost. So, his son couldn't see him. Clear? I want something like this. So, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Sun, stone, place. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Something like this. A descriptive paragraph. Use smell, use touching, use taste, anything. And if you need any vocabulary, I can help. You've got your mobiles anyway. But if you need any help, let me know. With grammar, with good grammar, please. So not only description, watch your grammar. Someone to speak about the sun? Who's ready? Or the stone, or the place. I'm going to have to hear from all of you. Yes, Hannah.
I talked about personality as well as some.
Yes, are we going to talk about the sun or what?
Yes,
Yes.
some. The thin, black-haired boy was laying on the sofa, gazing at his cell
Again,
phone.
gazing or what?
Gazing at
Yes.
his cell phone, paying no considerable attention to what his aged father was saying. The way he was laying with his legs put up there on the side of the sofa showed no respect neither for his father's existence nor for his wishes and dreams. He seems to be careless and indifferent, and he doesn't identify with his father in a way or another that he told him a fact that he should have known may cause severe damage to his father's health.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Yes, someone else? Come on, yes, please. Yes? Yeah? Sorry, you're not Maaz, you're Anas. Yes.
The old man and the son are sitting in a beautiful square land full of green fresh trees around them. Also, they are also sitting in a fresh, free air discussing about the storm. The land is not clean, in which everything around them is scattered, stained with a gloomy atmosphere.
Very good. Scattered, things are scattered. The place is gloomy, atmosphere, good. Yes. Someone else, Rahim? I want to speak about the stone. Yes.
The son grabbed the stone from his father. It was so small he could hold it in one hand. It was rocky but light. Its whitish color would glow in the sun. Its 5 soft edged would prevent it from rolling in the ground. It was smelling like flower in spring.
Very good, very good. Yes. So we can see the stone more clearly. There are adjectives to use with stones like oval, you know the shape of the egg. It's oval. You can say it's round, you can say it's lumpy. Lumpy, not even. You know, lumpy, it's got lumps around it. Yes, very good. Mine.
The son.
The sun, yes.
The son who was rarely meet his father and chat with him. He thinks that all his old father's stuff and the way that he thought it becomes as an old fashion for him. All the time he just chatting on his high cost smart mobile with his friends, spending his time outside the house with his best friend, and he doesn't came back to the house till the midnight. His father has something means for him a lot. It's a stone from Jerusalem, but the son unfortunately couldn't understand the value for it. And how much does it mean for this old man? He always make jokes on this stone and tell his father that this old stone is become an embarrassing and annoying thing.
Okay, good, Maaz, but again, you're lacking description. There's no description of the sun. There's a description of the actions, what happened, what it meant to him, how they had this dialogue about this stone. But I don't know, until now, I don't know what color his hair is. I don't know the color of his eyes. I don't know if he's short, tall, fat, thin, if he's limping, if he has red skin. Can you see what I mean? So good description of events, but not a very good description of how he looks. Okay, someone else. Someone else, girls.
Yeah.
Yes, with that.
Yeah. The place is gloomy due to the too much murders and wars that it passes through. The F-16 is getting closer and its voice is going to kill the old man. The town where the old man is living is located in the south of Palestine, and he is not allowed to get into Jerusalem due to the enormous, unmerciful barriers are existent everywhere in Palestine.
Very good. Good general description. It is a description, but again, what is the problem?
Not specific.
It's very general. So the place, if they're sitting in a room, you need to describe the room. If they're sitting in outside the house, on the door, you need to describe the street, or again, you remember the adjectives I wrote for the house or the place. You need to describe the place. So the walls, the street, is it dusty, is it clean, are there young children playing there? Again, more detailed, more vivid. Okay? Someone else? Muhammad here, would you like to?
Okay.
Yes.
The son sat beside his father and looking at his phone. He is a young man with black hair and green eyes. He is tall and thin. He tried to convince his father that the stone is not from the Jerusalem.
Okay, very good. Now you remember when I said writing is about style?
Yeah.
If English is like mathematics, which is not, we would say Muhammad's paragraph is cool because he said black hair, green eyes, etc. But again, you need style. You need to make it more poetic. You need the touch. But very good for a start. Very good. The other Muhammad?
The stone, which is the uncle, claimed that he bring it from Jerusalem. It is mean a lot for the old man. He was always taking it everywhere. The stone wakes, and he believes that the stone wakes him up to be.
Okay, good. Good.
I know that.
But yes, you need more description. Sorry, not destruction. You need more description of the stone. How does it feel? Is it rough? Is it soft? Is it lumpy? Is it etc.? Okay. Yes.
The stone which the old man which the old man closest to his face was an Asian color, rough, and when he touched it, he thinks it has the homeland smell.
Okay, that is nice. Very good. Yes, you need more detailed description, but the end was very nice. When he touches it, he feels it as if it has the smell of homeland. Very good. Okay, thank you. Enough for today. Nice to meet you all.